Recount. They see more than they count. So now, so we don't collect 162,000 reach office. We want share money.
The first video, and I was like, you're healthy, there's nothing wrong with you. Why do you think you can, well, you know, and I just stayed clear out of it. It is a means to exploit people who are not financially capable. You just pay them and say, have a child for me. But then what will make
except she no longer has a womb, or for some reason she's unable to have children. Lies! Quick listen, I'm about to trigger the internet people again. If you're a woman, you have no fertility complications, you can carry a child to term, and you decide by yourself that you don't want to do that and you want to use a surrogate instead, your decisions are valid. You don't owe anybody any medical report, apology, or an explanation. Let's make the story personal here. I have
So she already started with she wants to trigger everybody. I don't know what the noise about surrogacy is then. If someone who obviously is a content creator and she said, I want to trigger the internet, and she said something that is controversial and everybody took her serious. I don't know why anybody will do that. She literally said, I want to trigger the internet, but I will continue watching the video just to see.
a womb, I don't have any fertility complications, I'm perfectly healthy, but I'm still going to use a surrogate. I know many people are genuinely curious. Anytime I say this, they will always ask, Ife, why don't you want to carry a baby? You know, you can carry a baby, you're healthy. I'm not going to tell you. I just don't want to use it. I don't want to use my womb, okay? You don't owe anybody any explanation. People expect that people who use surrogate or want to use a surrogate must have a tragedy story. It's not true. I don't have a tragedy story. Not everyone does. I figured out what offends people is the autonomy that a woman dares say, I choose not to go through childbirth and pregnancy. The audacity. It shakes the table.
This is one thing that I think she's alright about though. I think there is a problem with the society. There is a struggle with women having autonomy over their own body. And I think this is something that has raised its ugly head in a lot of discussion. When you see a woman say, for example, that I don't want to get married, for example, you are going to see a lot of people who feels, how dare you not want to get married? You are selfish. You are this, you are that. Just because she says, I don't want to get married, which actually doesn't impact anybody else. That decision doesn't impact anybody else. Another way this raises its ugly head is when women say things like, I don't want to have children. You are still going to see a lot of people screaming at the top of their voice, how dare you not want to have children? Why don't you want to give some people life? You don't want to bring somebody to life. And I've always wondered, why do you people care so much? If somebody doesn't want to have a child and that decision doesn't impact anybody else, why are you guys so upset? Why? And I think she's right when she says the problem is the autonomy, because I think it's actually true. People don't like women having autonomy over their own life, and I think it's terrible.
That society has taught women to kneel beside, that if you don't bleed for it, you don't deserve it. That if you don't go through the pain of childbirth, the joy of motherhood is invalid. If you've believed this all your life, put your hand on your head and say, I'm unlearning this. I'm unlearning this. Thank you very much. Should women carry their babies if they really want to? Yes. Should women use a surrogate if that's what they really want? Also, yes. I know many of you will come at me with, if I read the room, even surrogacy is expensive. I'm reading the room, guys. The women around me can actually afford it. And the women who can't would do it if they could afford it. I pray that when it's time, that you have the means to do this if that's what you really want. But let's be honest, money is not the reason people are angry at the idea of surrogacy. People are angry because you have the freedom to choose and the audacity to actually act upon it. That seems to offend people more than anything else. But why?
I chose this.
Question. I think it's actually a good question. Why does he offend people so much? And the truth is, it's almost like there's nothing women do that the society is almost ever going to be okay. I mean, there are a lot of people, for example, even when somebody like Inedo did her own surrogacy, for example, she did her surrogacy and her own was not even elective. I think her own was done out of necessity. And there were still people who were unsatisfied. She didn't choose the surrogacy because she could have baby just like this lady. She chose the surrogacy because she's gone through a lot of miscarriage. And still, there were people who were still unhappy that she chose surrogacy because she's not under a man. I saw one ridiculous comment sometimes ago. I don't know why I didn't screenshot it. That somebody was complaining, oh, why is she going for surrogacy instead of getting married and being under a man? So I don't really see the problem with surrogacy in terms of people wanting to have it. But to just finish, I think Kate Henshaw's response is probably the one that went viral over the internet. So I think that's the one that is actually very important to see. So
She first video, and I was like,
so
you're healthy.
So this is Kate Henshaw's response to that particular video, the video that he fed.
There's nothing wrong with you. Why do you think you can, and I just stayed clear.
Okay, this is the kind of people I hate in this kind of discussion. This type of presenter that is on black, that is making the claim that you feel entitled to somebody's body. And it's not an entitlement. That's actually very disingenuous. Because it's transactional. And when you get into a transaction, there is no entitlement there. I'm paying you to offer me a service. You're happy with what I'm paying you. And because of what I'm paying you, you're offering a service. There is no entitlement there. The presenter saying that she feels entitled is basically trying to make women who seek for surrogacy look as bad as possible when they are literally not seeking. I don't know anybody who feel entitled to somebody's body, who wants them to carry the baby without their consent. So if the person have to give their consent, how is that an entitlement?
Out of it. It is a means to exploit people who are not financially capable. You just pay them and say, have a child for me. But then what will make you want to look after them? Are you bound under any laws or legal framework to make sure that they are taken care of before and after they've delivered the baby for you? What are documents that are signed? What are the ethical? In short, there's just so much around it. Surrogacy is a thing of giving hope to those who cannot have medical complications and want to bring forth a child. It shouldn't be something to be done lightly, like you're going to buy a bag. Oh, I like this bag. Well, let me buy it. No, it shouldn't be. There are lots of emotions attached to carrying a child. Apart from the changes in the body, there's mental, changes. Women have PTSD. Risk. There's so much. They can die. So it shouldn't be something to be just thought of lightly. I hope Nigeria rises up to it. I hope we have laws that will actually work and not be suggestions, like you always say.
No woman.
So this is probably where I think I agree with Kate. I think the government needs to come in. I think it is terrible that we live in a country where there isn't any law, there is no regulation, there is no oversight on surrogacy, and it's always going to be a recipe for abuse. So yes, I think there's a good argument that government should come in, and when government is coming in, it's not supposed to be government coming in to come and ban it, because the problem with when you ban stuff is you ban it under the ground, you take it out of the view of the public, and when it's not in the view of the public anymore, there's no way to criticize it, there's no way to scrutinize it. So I don't think banning it necessarily offers any kind of solution. I think the solution is supposed to be regulation. So the government comes in, the government serves as the middleman between the woman who wants to get surrogacy and the woman who wants to be a surrogate. And there needs to be law, there needs to be contracts, papers that needs to be signed. I think there should be it should be legally bound that the woman seeking for the surrogacy is responsible for the surrogate, medically speaking, in terms of complications or whatever happens during the pregnancy. I think we should have contracts like that. But to say some women shouldn't have access to surrogacy, I think is just ridiculous. And I don't know why women hate each other so much like that, where when some women feel they don't want something, they don't want other women to have it. But I'm not even a woman, so what do I know?
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna start at level
Okay,
1.
what is this?
Level 1 is 1 centimeter dilated.
What happened?
That's just level 1. Oh?
What?
You're 1 centimeter dilated. Stop! This is just level 1. Try to relax. Relax. Okay, level 2.
To be honest, I think women need to be respected a little bit more in the society. I don't think we give women the credit they actually deserve. We just have a man that is strapped with a pregnancy simulator, for example. And I think from what she said this is just the stage 1. This is like the minimum pain you go through during pregnancy. And you have a man here who probably can't even stand it for 10 seconds, if I'm not mistaken.
Stop!
Wow!
This is just level 2. Let me go. Let me go.
What the?
Okay, let's go. Okay, this is level 3. Give me.
Doctor!
Okay, okay.
Go to the doctor, go to the doctor.
Okay.
The baby's coming, go to the doctor.
Okay, I turned it off. Okay, I turned it off. That was only 3. Call 1 doctor, 1 baby's coming. You have to be 10 centimeters for the baby to come.
Oh,
You were only at 3.
that's why. That's why.
Honestly, I don't know how women do it. I don't know where women get their tolerance for pain from. Because it seems like when it comes to tolerance for pain, it seems like a lot of women are actually way more tolerance to pain than a lot of men. I mean, forget all the noise men used to make, they are stronger and all of that. But it seems like women generally, they have much more tolerance for pain. And I think it's actually interesting. As a matter of fact, I think every wife should have this device in the house. I think every time you are pregnant, you are supposed to strap your husband with it so that your husband knows what you are feeling like to be honest. Let me know in the comment section if you think women should have this at home so that they can share the pregnancy experience with their husband. I think that would make sense.
Would you rather be stuck in the forest with a man or with a bear, and why?
Probably a bear. Because I can like maybe try to escape. But then, you know, with a man it's difficult to escape.
Of course, a bear. Man cannot be trusted.
Oh, bear.
The bear. Because there is no risk of being assaulted. The bear, we know the consequences, but with a man, we never know the consequences, no?
I think a bear. Because like it won't be that scary, you know, men can't be trusted.
With a bear, because personally I like bear a lot. That's my favorite animal. And with a man, no. Men's are complicated.
Thank you so much.
What are men doing to these women? I mean, and I think this is actually a slap on men's face generally in the society. If we have become so bad in the society that women would rather be stuck with a wild animal than to be stuck with a man, it's actually disappointing. I wish this wasn't the things the women say, but yeah, not a good look for men at all, that somehow women prefer a wild animal over a man. I think that is terrible.
I hope you are comfortable. I'm gonna post it on Instagram.
A bear. Men behavior, you're very animalistic more than animal himself. So I rather die from a bear than a man. I prefer bear. Because I'm so done with men. Like done and dusted. Okay.
Not even one of them yet said a man. Not even one. I think this is sad, to be honest. I think this is very sad. I think men need to do better. I mean, if we live in a world now where women are preferring animals, women are preferring bears to men, I think we've done a very, very bad job. And for a lot of you men out there, I think a lot of you needs to do better. I think we need to do better. Women shouldn't have a reason to pick a bear over a man. There shouldn't be any scenario where that is even imaginable. I mean, what are men doing to these women, really? What is it? I find this video very strange. And the reason I find it very strange is because I don't have a problem with the fact that you have a young girl there that is willing to be combative, willing to be strong. I like when parents want to raise their daughters to be very strong. I think it's generally a good thing. I don't think this idea of raising women to be damsel in distress that constantly need saving, I don't think it helps anybody, especially the women themselves. So I like the idea of raising daughters to be very strong, but I have a problem with this because these are still very, very young kids. I'm pretty sure none of them is even maybe 6 or 7. As a matter of fact, at most, maybe 7 years old. And to have 7-year-olds to constantly being punched in the head like that, I don't think is healthy. And there are actually a lot of studies that have been done on this. where the studies were done on professional athletes like footballers, rugby players, and I think professional boxers as well. And it has been discovered that constantly being punched in the head actually leads to a lot of brain damage and brain issues. Not to talk of young kids who their skull is not even fully developed yet, and they're already hitting each other at the head on the head like this. I have no idea what the parents were thinking when they do this. While I think it's good for the children, I don't think it's good for their health. I don't necessarily think so. I wonder what their parents were thinking, to be honest. I really do wonder what they are thinking. But let me know in the comment section, if you have children of this age, would you mind them having this kind of boxing exercise at that very young age? Or you think this is not really good for them? Let me know what you think in the comment section.
Things wey dey happen for this country, make we know they talk about government. Some Nigerians na problem too. So today na Saturday, our boss come back from abroad just for office meeting. Just say, oh, make una take $100, muna go buy lunch.
The good life, baby. Just the good life. Nothing else at all.
Now we go island for a.
I mean, how big must your boss be to be able to dash you $100? That's like probably 140 or maybe 150,000 naira. I mean, I must be a very rich boss.
Say maybe we go change money. Now so we go aboki the Russia. We don't know. Now say they say, oh yeah, how much? They can't agree to give us 162,000 naira. They count the money for our eye. So they first of all give us the money we count. So we count them, complete. Even they miss about how much? About 2,000 naira. So they go say, give me, make I count. People are not count. They can't recount the money. We they see more they count. So don't you the guy they do now? I say they count the money, they touching head. You go count the touching. So we know.
I don't understand. Somebody they count money, they touching head. You two, you don't suspect anything. I mean, which normal human being counts money and touch their head? Who does that? Obviously, if it's touching the mouth now, you'll say, okay, it's trying to use the saliva to make sure it's easy to count the money. But touching the back of their head, who does that? I mean, if these guys get scammed, I swear it's their fault. It is their fault.
Any minute to run. Now so we don't collect 162,000 reach office. We want share money.
Money no reach anything. The money was how much? 85,000. Almost half of the money.
85,000 out of 162,000 naira.
Nah, so it doesn't make sense now. How can somebody give you 60,000 naira before? For some reason, they were counting and they were touching their head and they managed to remove another 75,000 naira and you guys did not notice. Nah, I don't believe this story. Not one bit.
Now, if they happen, this will be say make up. See the money. But when they count the money for them, a big bundle. So guys, because of all of us still dey shock, we can't enter car, say make we drive, go back the place. See, we don't come the place now, no say.
Why not go meet anybody if now you call, you don't dupe somebody 75,000 naira, you go can't stay there. Who does that?
Any of them again. This exact place, we not see any of them again. Now new set of people, now ain't don't dey here. See people wey stand now. When we come, we enter keke, say they no. Now we drive come. Now new set of people, everybody where they here, now new set.
That's
is what they do. Now their scope be that for this Lagos.
As we come back now, we'll not see anybody here.
Hey, why that kind of people be?
Honestly, those guys have nobody to blame but themselves. There is no way somebody will count. You will give somebody 160,000 naira. They will be counting the money. They'll be touching the back of their head. And they gave you back the money and you didn't count it again before you left there. No, these guys, this is nobody's fault but their own. There shouldn't be any reason why somebody gives you 150,000 naira and you are not counting it before you leave there. Nice. This one not their fault. Oh ha.
У нас так не ходят. У нас так не ходят, вы детей пугаете. Так в телевизоре террористы ходят. А вы детей пугаете. У меня ребенок испугался. Не надо у нас так ходить. Это нас, здесь мы живем.
So basically, the caption under this video was that that woman brought her kids to come and swim in a pool. And obviously dressing the way she's dressing. As a Muslim woman, she's wearing a burqa and all of that. So somehow the parents in the pool were complaining that their kids are scared of her, that she should leave the pool. And I think that's a bit discriminatory actually, because if the kids are ignorant of what that dressing represents, is understandable because they are kids, they don't know. But I think for the older people, the parents of those children, of course, they should know that this is a religious way of dressing. So why would you ask the woman to leave just because your kids are scared? Shouldn't it be your role and your job as the parent to educate the children that there's nothing wrong with people dressing like this? It doesn't make sense in my own opinion. You can't discriminate against somebody just because your kids are scared now. Who does that?
Pay for a date, I'm not going on that date.
What about if you asked me?
It's not about equality. A man was built to provide.
So you're saying a man was built to pay the first date every time?
Provide. Provide means safety, food, shelter, and all that for a
I think there are too many discussion about this a man is built to provide conversation. And I think a lot of people are going to get into a lot of trouble. Because whether we like it or not, the economy of the world is not very good. It's not what it used to be. And to have that celestial imposition of a provider on a man, in most cases, a man that cannot provide, I don't think it's fair. Yeah, it's a nice thing if the man can provide, but this is not a time where the way you provide is just to go and hunt for fish and hunt for animal anymore. It's not. And as regards the dating thing, it's nice if the man pays for the date. Obviously, it's nice, and that's the way it should be ordinarily. But the truth is, it shouldn't be the dates the men should pay for. It shouldn't be the women that ask for it. And the problem with that is, if you are going to ask me as a man for a date and you don't know if I have enough money to pay for that date, it's going to be unfair on me to invite me to a date, get to the date, we ate everything we're going to eat, and now it's time to pay. You're embarrassing me by telling me I should pay and I don't have the money to pay. So I think whoever initiates the date should be the one who pays. It shouldn't be a man or a woman's thing. It shouldn't be. If you initiate a date, it doesn't matter if you are the man or the woman. If you initiate it, you should pay for it. Somebody shouldn't have to be embarrassed for the date they didn't ask for. And I've actually found myself in this situation as somebody who at some point used to drive Uber. I meet a lot of women, obviously, and I've had some of them that invite me on a date, and I don't pay because it doesn't make sense if you are asking me to come and spend money on a date, money that I probably make in a whole week. You want me to spend it on a date that I did not ask for? Of course not, I won't pay. Obviously, if it becomes a situation where there is embarrassment and she couldn't pay, of course I will pay, obviously. But that will be out of necessity. It's not going to be because we are just on a date. If you ask me for on a date that I did not ask for, you are definitely paying. I mean, why should I suffer the embarrassment if I'm not able to pay? Why?
Family.
Aren't there a lot of women, though, looking to abuse that?
There are a lot of toxic women like that.
Because surely a good qualifier for a gold digger is to see how she responds to when the bill comes out.
So you're telling me, what if a man is testing me?
You're putting me through the test.
I'm having an honest conversation. It's not a test.
Okay, so then in that case, we need to have an honest conversation about the bill. Would you expect me to pay the bill every single time we went out?
Not every single time.
But we're on an equal level of success, but now you want me to pay for
Would you
all
want
the
your
dinners?
daughter to pay for her date's dinner?
I mean, she's 10.
Would you allow a woman to pay on a first date?
I would not want someone to come to me for my money.
No.
No, but it's not really somebody coming to you for your money. It's just the expectation that as a man, you should be the one to pay for the date. And there's a good logic behind that. And I think it's because most men are the one who ask women to come on a date. So it's only reasonable if those men who ask those women on the date are the one who pay for the date. But I don't think it's about coming for your money. If you are going to be the one to ask for the date, so obviously you should be the one to pay.
And I've had that quite a lot, and I'm married. I need that not to be in my life.
Have the right conversation.
Well, that's what I'm just saying.
It's okay. You're a man. You want to test, right?
Well, you've been testing me the whole time.
I have been having an honest conversation. But if you think it's right to test me in this way, then I will go to the club and I'm going to grind on every man in the club to see if you're jealous or not. Is that okay?
That is not the
No
same.
one should test anyone.
But you expect me to pay for it.
This is our first date.
So I should pay for the first date. Okay, who pays for the second date?
He pays.
And then the third date?
I would pay. Because there wouldn't be a third date unless he's f***ing awesome.
Honestly, whoever asks for the date should be the one to pay. It shouldn't be a man or a woman thing. And let me know in the comment section if you think women should be paying for dates as well. And if you're a woman and you've gone on a date and the man have expected you to pay, let me know in the comment section as well. Yeah, there should be one more. Oh, okay.
Out there. A woman will fight you to be the leader. Then if you allow her to lead, she will detest you for allowing her to gain that power. And not only did God tell women to submit, it is what even a woman needs if she wants to remain in that.
Honestly, I think if there is anything that is going to destroy this country, I think it's going to be a podcast. Because there seems to be a lot of ignorant people that is just giving microphone who don't necessarily know what they are talking about. I don't know. I don't know if he's married, but I doubt if he's married. And I've always wondered why people who are not married feel so strongly about the way marriage should be structured. I've always wondered where they got the idea from.
You see, any marriage where a woman is the leader is bound to fail. Because women, not only are they not designed to lead in a marriage, they detest any man that allows them to lead.
I don't really understand what the obsession with the titles and the hierarchy. I don't really understand what that obsession is. Can't people just be two adults who have adult conversations when a decision needs to be made and they bounce ideas off each other, and whoever has the best idea He's the decision maker. I don't understand this leadership nonsense people keep screaming about. And unfortunately, this is one of the ways in which religion can be used as a tool. And men do a lot of this. You see him citing the Bible there. But unfortunately, the hypocritical thing is almost every man knows the verse of the Bible where it says a woman to submit to the husband. But interestingly, I've never seen any man who remembers the verse of the Bible that says men are to love their woman as Christ loved the church. For some reason, for some miraculous reason, a lot of men don't seem to remember that part. I wonder why.
She's going to start looking for a leader. She's going to start looking for somebody that can give her the vibe of being a follower. They want to follow. These chicks want a man to dominate them. And dominate you should. And that's why I always tell men that please don't shout. First of all, take shouting out. Anger is a feminine trait.
Exactly why I think a lot of them don't know what they are talking about. Anger is not necessarily a feminine trait. As a matter of fact, men are much more predisposed to anger than women. That is why if you go to the prison, for example, and they take a poll or a survey of people who are in prison for violent crimes, I'm sure everybody knows the vast majority of them are going to be men, because a lot of men struggle to control their emotion. So if the vast majority of people in prison for violent crime are men, how can anger be a feminine trait when men exhibit anger much more than women? Does that make sense? It doesn't seem to make any sense to me. I mean, let me give you an example. So let's say a man goes to a club, mistakenly step on the foot of another man in the club. Second scenario, a woman goes to a club, mistakenly step on the foot of another woman. Which of these two scenarios do you think somebody is going to get angry enough to start a fight? Let me know in the comment section what you think. But my guess is the scenario where you have two men, that one is most likely going to lead into a fight than the one you have two women. But let me know in the comment section what you think.
Losing it, shouting, screaming is a feminine trait. If you can take that out, you will not be ruffling feathers with your woman. Once you start to do that, or maybe you now look at that, you're using very bad words. She's not matching the energy. You don't see your leadership finish with that. So that's really it.
Honestly, I think I'm going to ban my children from social media and internet until probably maybe they are 21. I think if this is the kind of nonsense that people are consuming on social media, I don't think it's worth it as a parent to allow your kids to be on social media until at the bare minimum they are 18 years old. I think it's a disaster because the kind of thing social media will teach them, it might be too late and it might be too difficult to reverse. But that's going to be my live stream for today. I'm streaming for the first time. So for anybody who is seeing this for the first time, I'm going to be streaming probably every day, probably from either 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. So if you are watching this, please always join the stream by 5 o'clock and always subscribe to the channel. As you can see, the name of the channel is there, Morpheus. So just let me go to YouTube, let me subscribe to the channel. And if you subscribe to the channel, just type in the comment section, I subscribe, so that I can thank you and personally reply to your comment. So thank you. This is a test stream. This is not a full show. This is just for me to test the equipment, the internet, the microphone, the camera. I'm just trying to test everything. So if this still looks ugly and it still looks unprofessional, bear with me. This should probably look better in the